Next guest, ladies and gentlemen, is a lady who comes to us from Texas, for that is where she was born. And she is certainly a superstar of show business. The shows with which she's been particularly associated include Peter Pan, The Sound of Music, South Pacific, Annie Get Your Gun, Hello Dolly, but there were dozens more and dozens of films as well. And she is probably most famous for the fact that she is the lady who washed that man right out of her hair every night in the long run of South Pacific. She is also probably very well known in Ireland as being the mother of J.R., that is Mr. Hagman himself. But believe you me, she was a superstar long before he ever came into show business. She's a lovely, lovely lady, and I know you're going to enjoy meeting her. Would you welcome, please, Mary Martin. You look smashing.
This is an antique. Would get about $25 in the United States. Me.
Rubbish and
I'm an
nonsense.
antique. How about that?
I've been reading all about you, Mary Martin. That's a lovely outfit.
Do you like that?
That's a lovely lace
Thank
work
you.
and beautiful blouse. And
This is a watermelon red. Where I come from in Texas, they have the biggest watermelons in the world. They're over 100 pounds. And they're this color. I thought it would be apropos for tonight.
I've been reading all about you, and I wanted to know, first of all, why did you set about changing yourself so much when you went to Hollywood first?
Apparently, I needed to. The people in Hollywood thought so. I thought it was kind of cute little Texas girl when I went out there. But they wanted, they said my neck was too long, my nose was too round, everything was wrong. My teeth were not quite right. But they made me over, and they made me look like Claudette Colbert. And they made me look like Jean Arthur and Jean Parker. And they tried to make me look like Rosalind Russell. But most of the time, when they tried to make me look glamorous, I just looked sick.
Because they wanted that was the standard look in Hollywood at the time.
Yes, that's right.
And everybody had to conform. They didn't really succeed, did they? Not enough.
Not enough.
Not an awful lot. Did you really wash your hair, incidentally, every night on stage? And
we had to count it once, and I washed it 28 times a week because I never did get the soap out. And the show, when we first started, no one would believe. They'd see the suds, but they wouldn't believe that I was doing it. So we finally had to get a huge bar of ivory soap. So the stagehand, the downstage hand, they could see this, but in the other hand was Prel, liquid Prel, which was very quick. And then they believed it. Otherwise, they wouldn't believe it.
And did it ever do any harm to your hair?
Still on.
It sure is still on, yeah. Never did any harm at all.
I remember one afternoon in a matinee, and there were two darling little ladies down in the front row, and I was washing it like crazy, and it was, suds all over the place, and they said, she's washing it, but it's a wig.
But it wasn't.
But it wasn't. It was me.
Were you good in school, Mary?
Terrible. I performed all the time, and that's what I wanted to do, and my father was the president of the school board, also a lawyer and a judge, and so that's the way I had to graduate because he had to give me my diploma. And I was always in shows all the time. So I graduated, and then they sent me off to a girls' finishing school, which I finished in 3 months by running away and marrying and having Larry Hagman when I was 17, a year and a half. All this within a year and a half.
Well, hold on now. How old were you when you went to finishing school to get finished?
16, just about.
And had you got the boyfriend then?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It was well on the way. Mm-hmm. And then you went off and got married, with or without your parents' permission?
Well, my mother gave me permission. My mother, bless her heart, could never say no to me. And fortunately, she didn't, because otherwise we wouldn't have J.R. I brought something for you. They gave me today. Do you have these over here? I was in the store, and a man came up to me, and he said, "Would you mind taking a picture with this?" And I said, "I certainly won't," because he bought the first one when he was with me, and we were in a very fancy restaurant in New York, and friends were smoking, and he just took it out and held it in front of their face, so it rolled right back in their face.
Just like
it's
that.
Lovely.
Don't be polite about your health. That's the tagline.
Never.
Don't be polite
Is
about
that
your
what
health.
he- is that what he
That's
did?
the tagline on the commercial. Don't be polite about your health. And that sickly smile. Incidentally, now, all right then. Now you
That's
went
what
up.
made it.
So you got married.
Yes.
And then along came Larry, Jr.
yes,
When you were
yes.
17.
Yes.
Dear, oh dear. And he, growing up, he wasn't involved in show business.
No, he really didn't ever want to be in show business. And he, when I finally made it in pictures, he would come down to the set, and I would be making a picture with Bing Crosby or Fred McMurray, and he'd say, "What do you do?" You know, he knew what they did, but he just resented our making it. And then now he's the biggest. He's the biggest thing that's ever happened.
He sure is.
He's a cult. And he's absolutely marvelous. He's a wonderful actor. The meaner he is on the screen, the better he is at home.
I don't believe
It's
that
a
he's good
truth.
at home.
He's just marvelous.
Well, now I have to ask you, what did you think about him forgetting his lines on the Royal Command performance?
Well, I just thought he was marvelous because I was having a nervous breakdown in the dressing room. I hadn't been on the stage in London in 15 years. And so no one knew I was there. So I'm listening, and I hear my baby boy saying, "I don't know what comes next." And in rhythm, though. And then he kept saying it again, "I don't know what comes next." And finally he stopped the orchestra. And then he had to say, "I'll try it again." He did it 3 times. And by this time, I'm absolutely exhausted with excitement to get out there to help my child. And not at all afraid about myself by that time. So I get out there, and my first line is, they heard my voice off stage, and I went and stood beside, he's very tall, and I just looked up, and I was in the honey bun suit that I performed in, I think, 32 years ago. Had to get it out of the museum to do it. And I looked up and said, "Get a load of honey buns tonight." He just had bombed. And he was so marvelous. He was so darling, because when we did the whole routine together.